Border shooting, killing on both sides. Deadly clashes broke out between Iran and Afghanistan in the last week of May 2023, which now have escalated to conflicts at the border. After the violence, Iran closed an important commercial border of Melak-Zaranj. The conflict between both countries rose due to the Helmand River dispute. But how far back do Iran and Afghan border clashes date back to? In this video, we will dive deep into the Iran-Afghan dispute and explain why Helmand River is an essential asset to both these countries. Helmand River. This water body has caused clashes between both the countries. It flows across the border and is more than 1,000 kilometers long. On the Afghanistan side, a dam has been constructed to generate electricity and irrigate the agricultural land. But unlike the territorial disputes between India and Pakistan, Kabul and Tehran have steered clear of questioning each other's sovereignty. But the crisis over the river is not something that they have been able to resolve since the 1870s. Both countries face droughts and water problems due to improper allocation of water body and climate change. But before we move ahead into the conflict, let's first understand which country does this river belong to. Helmand is the longest river in Afghanistan and 95% of this river flows through Afghanistan. It contributes as a critical source to the livelihood of the country's inhabitants in the southwestern province. From the border, it flows towards Iran. The first major step to resolve this issue was taken back in 1939 when the kings of Iran and Afghanistan signed an accord to share water. However, Afghanistan's U-turn on this decision proved to be a major hurdle in resolving the long-lasting conflict. In 1948, another attempt was made to resolve the disputes in Washington. And based on the suggestions from the US, Iran and Afghanistan set up a 3-person committee, known as the Helmand River Delta Commission. 3 years later, the commission presented its report and it said that Iran is entitled to 22 cubic meters of water per second. But this time, Iran rejected this report and demanded for a larger share. So after a series of renegotiations up until 1969, a treaty was eventually signed between the prime ministers in 1973, where Iran agreed to move ahead with 22 cubic meters, but with an additional option that allowed Iran to purchase 4 cubic meters of water per second. And in return to this, Iran agreed to allow the ports Bandar Abbas and Chabahar to be available to Afghanistan without any preconditions. But this development was never officially signed or fully implemented as both these countries underwent political crisis, including the 1973 coup in Afghanistan and the 1979 Iranian Revolution. But over the 70s and the 90s, Iran has accused Afghanistan multiple times for failing to adhere to the 1973 treaty. They further opposed Afghanistan's decision of constructing dams on Helmand River. Afghan governments over the years have made attempts to construct irrigation lands to boost their agriculture. In Iran, drought has been a problem for decades, and it is said that it has worsened. In fact, the Iranian Meteorological Organization says that over 97% of the country faces drought. As the Helmand River is the largest river in Afghanistan, it has become a national issue that no Afghan government has been able to resolve. For Iran too, this is a national issue, and all of Iran's governments after 1979 have maintained the same position over the dispute of Helmand River. The situation has worsened since the construction of the Kamal Khan Dam in 2021. Iran raised several environmental concerns over the dam, and Afghanistan has argued that the dam will secure water and be in line with the 1973 treaty. But since the clashes on 28 May 2023, Afghanistan has moved its military vehicles and heavy equipment towards Iran for possible use against Iranian armed forces. Meanwhile, Iran is pulling out some of their border soldiers, fearing an attack any minute. The Afghan president has said that their country will not provide free water to anyone. Hence, Iran should provide fuel to Afghanistan in exchange for water. Taliban has called for resolutions over the issues through diplomatic channels, while the deputy spokesman of Iran has said that they want relations between the countries to improve and not worsen. But while Iran has held dialogues with Taliban in the past, it hasn't officially recognized them as the legitimate rulers of Afghanistan. But as far as the border clashes go, it is still unclear what led to these attacks. But it came amid the tensions between both the countries over the Helmand River dispute.